Hey, from Galveston Island, I'm Julie Tam, managing broker of LYN Realty, back on land in Houston usually, but I am at the beach and I want to do a smarter real estate video for you guys, happening weekly on Wednesdays, and I'm actually walking into the Gulf of Mexico. Sorry, I got distracted for a second. The ocean, woo! While I do this, I thought this would be a fun setting to do a video about short-term rentals. Now, we as a company manage more than 300 rental properties, but they're longer-term rentals. So typically we require at least a one-year lease, but sometimes we will do a shorter lease for a higher rent amount. I am shouting because the waves are really loud and they're super choppy today, so just want to make sure you can hear me. If I'm too loud, I have no idea until I play back the video, so apologies in advance if I'm yelling. But anyway, so when you're thinking about short-term rentals, say Airbnb, Vrbo types, where people are renting just for, say, a weekend or maybe a week at a time or a month at a time, but not a long-term like 6 or 9 or 12 months or 24, those long type of leases, right? So there are some extra things you need to take into consideration that are different from the long-term rental. So a long-term rental typically is where someone has their own furniture. Sometimes it's furnished, but that's more rare. Typically people bring all their supplies, their own pots and pans or whatever. The house is completely empty. All there is the walls and everything that's attached to the house, all the fixtures, and that's it. But with short-term rentals, people cannot bring all those things when they're renting. So you have to provide those things for them. So I want to give you 7 tips. There are certainly more, but I think that's all I can remember while trying to stay afloat in the ocean. So 7 things that you need to keep in mind when considering where and what type and which short-term rental you want to buy. Let's start with number 1 is going to be the location. Think about where a desirable location would be. Maybe you're a lakefront property, or you're on the beach, or you're close to a tourist area where a lot of people would want to stay. Maybe it's very walkable, like downtown or something like that. So just depending on what city it is, those factors can vary. So, woo! Nice choppy waves today. I love it. I love the water. Okay. The other thing is your view, which sort of correlates with the location. And when you're thinking about the view, you also have to think about what might happen in the future. So just because you have a nice view, say, of a certain type of landscape, the mountain, a body of water, that doesn't mean that view is always going to be there. So you want to try to find out if there's any developments. I probably should go to more shallow water. If there's any developments coming up that are going to block the view, because if that view is gone, your property will be devalued. The next thing, number 3, is providing the right amenities and things in your home. So we've seen all sorts of things. We've rented some Airbnbs and we've got some coming up that we're going to be renting, as in we are the renters, not that we own any Airbnbs at this point. And sometimes they have food, snacks, ramen noodles. They usually come equipped with similar things like hotels have, like your Keurig, coffee, shampoos, conditioners, and other toiletries, but also some extra conveniences that you might find in, say, a long-term stay hotel or a suite, like dish sponge, dishwashing liquid, dishwasher tablets, for example, and other things. They've also got a whole host of like pots and pans and utensils, plates and other servingware, and they usually have a lot of those items because people might have a party, they might be hosting a lot of people, and so you've got to have all the right amenities. If you want to skimp on something like high-speed internet and people are not happy, then they're going to write bad reviews about your vacation rental, and that leads me to my 4th thing, which is reviews. So long-term rentals don't really survive on reviews as much, but short-term rentals definitely do. You want to get those 5 stars as much as possible. Otherwise, as your ratings go down, it's going to be harder for you to lease out the vacation rental in the future. I think I've lost track as to what number I'm on. I said location, I said view, I said amenities and things that you're providing, and then also reviews. Okay, so 4 things so far. I've got 3 more. Let's see if I can even remember them. I was trying to use an acronym, and now that I'm out here, I've like already forgotten. Oh, I remember. Here's number 5, rules and ordinances. Make sure that the city you're in, or for example, if it's zoned, Houston has no zoning, but almost all other cities in the country do. All other major cities in the country do, in the US. And you've also got homeowners associations, okay? Whether you're in a condo, you've got a condo association, or you're in a neighborhood of single family homes or townhomes, and you've got an HOA, and they have rules, and some of them will ban short-term rentals. In fact, we've even encountered HOAs that ban rentals entirely. And so we've had to eliminate those neighborhoods in our searches for rental properties, for investment properties, for our investor clients. Okay, so that was 5. Number 6 is when you are renting to people, you want to make sure they understand the rules very clearly, that you've gotten them, you know, typed out very plain in your listing of the property. Because if they break the rules, for example, like noise ordinances, if they're too noisy, if they're hosting loud parties and they're disrupting and disturbing neighbors, then you might get complaints to the HOA, etc. And so if that happens too much, who knows what could happen? It depends on what the rules are. So you don't want anything to jeopardize your ability to lease out that short-term rental again in the future. And the final thing, number 7, yay, I actually can remember. I thought my brain was just gonna completely get washed away in the ocean, being out here and trying to stay afloat while doing this video. So the 7th and final thing is to make sure the numbers make sense. So whatever you're paying for that Airbnb, you've got to make sure you're going to be able to charge the rate, the nightly rate, or however much you're charging. However you're charging people, you might offer some sort of discount for a longer stay, for example, but that all of that is going to make sure that you at least break even, but you really would like to profit, because you also have to think about costs like replacing things that might get damaged. So you want to buy furniture that's more durable. You want to have decor that's not as fragile, so that when people are a little bit rougher, which they will tend to be, and then of course if people are getting drunk, there's a party, people are getting rowdy, or there's kids, you know, pets, you know, if you're thinking about allowing pets, then there's always that chance that you could have things either sustain damage or just wear and tear and wear down faster, which means your costs are going to come about in terms of replacing things sooner. So all things to think about, 7 important things. Our company does not manage any Airbnb, Vrbo type, you know, short-term rentals. So you'll have to look elsewhere for those services, but it is a lot. And the reason why we don't do it is, gosh, that turnover is constant. You know, it's just like running a hotel. As people check out, you need to make sure your crew is in there fixing any problems. If any appliances or whatnot are malfunctioning, all the cleaning needs to be done. And if someone leaves it a mess, it'll take your cleaning crew longer to clean up. So those are all considerations to make sure your place is in tip-top condition, so that the next people coming in will enjoy their time and write you a good review. All right, so if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment or message me. And I hope you will continue to watch, like, subscribe, keep tuning in on Facebook and YouTube. And I appreciate you watching Smarter Real Estate Weekly on Wednesdays, where I take you on my real estate adventures on land and at sea, and also teach you smart strategies to be a smarter buyer, seller, tenant, or landlord. Thanks so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.